Did you know most people with Lyme never saw the tick that infected them? Wait, can you get Lyme disease without noticing a tick? In this video, I'll share the myths, the science, some of my own personal story, some symptoms to look out for, and what to do. The short answer is yes. You can have Lyme disease without ever noticing a tick bite. Still, unfortunately, we see people assume that they don't have Lyme disease because they never saw a tick bite. This is just a common misconception and one of those fallacies where people think, oh, it can't happen to me, it happened to someone else. Lyme disease can happen to anyone, and you may or may not notice a tick bite at all. Now, to clarify, ticks are still the most reliable vector. They are the ones spreading the disease most commonly. Tick bites often go unnoticed, and there's a bunch of reasons for that. In short, not seeing a tick does not rule out Lyme disease. Here's why most people never see a tick bite. First of all, tick nymphs are the size of a poppy seed. They're almost invisible. You might not know this, but tick bites are generally painless. Ticks inject anesthetic to help numb the area they bite and anticoagulant to let the blood flow easily out of your body. That's pretty scary. Ticks are also geared for survival, and they hide in dark, warm, hidden places like your scalp, behind your ears, your groin, the back of your knees, your armpits. And ticks often fall off before you ever even notice them. Many people mistake the early signs of Lyme disease for mosquito bites or eczema or just a simple skin rash. Personally, I never remember being bitten by a tick. I was bitten once in my life and I was 8 years old. And then I didn't see any symptoms till I was in my 20s. At that time, the symptoms were insane. That means one of two things could have happened. First of all, I could have been infected with Lyme disease back when I was 8 years old, but the stressful events in my life in my 20s ended up bringing out the symptoms in full force. That's what I think happened. Or secondly, I could have been bitten by a tick again and just never noticed it, never seen it, and then got hit hard with Lyme disease in my 20s. Either way, it wasn't immediately obvious or clear that I was going to get Lyme disease before I got it. When I was a kid, nobody was sharing this stuff. We didn't know that I could get really, really sick one day from a simple tick bite. And then obviously I didn't connect my symptoms to a bite that happened 8 years ago because the timeline seems impossible. But this is exactly why so many people never connect the dots. The timeline just doesn't make sense until you understand the Lyme disease bacteria and how they can hide and evade the immune system for years on end without people knowing they're infected. Obviously, I can't prove it, but I think that's what happened to me. So do other insects also transmit Lyme disease? Well, the research has looked at mosquitoes and spiders, fleas and flies, and there's no confirmed transmission of Lyme disease from these bugs. However, there's a ton of online stories and personal anecdotes of people getting Lyme disease after being bitten by a different bug. Now, here's the truth. That could be a coincidence. Maybe they were bitten by a tick and a different bug in the same week. We'll never know. Secondly, it could be their immune system response. It could be some other thing affecting their life that causes their symptoms to flare up, like what happened to me. And third, there could be other infections that are causing this type of breakout. If you get bitten by a different bug and your body goes into stress trying to fight off those bacteria, this could cause Lyme bacteria to rise up and cause a flare of symptoms. To make matters more confusing, there's a ton of overlapping symptoms, complications with testing, and it's difficult to know for sure if people have Lyme disease without going through the process. All that being said, ticks remain the proven, reliable vector for Lyme disease. They are known to share Lyme disease in many different forms, many different strains, and their co-infection. So how do people get Lyme disease with no tick bite? First of all, it could be that the bite was just simply never seen. It could also be that there was no bullseye rash ringing the alarm for you to go to the doctor. Only about 20 to 30% of people ever get the EM rash from Lyme disease. That means 70 to 80% of people have no rash but still have Lyme disease. If there's no rash, the early symptoms just look like a normal fever or virus. Or it could be that the symptoms arrived years after a tick bite, like what happened to me and what's happened to a lot of other people that I've spoken to throughout the years helping people with Lyme disease. Obviously, if you get bitten 20 years prior, you're not going to immediately connect the dots and say, this is from that tick bite that I got. On top of that, co-infections can alter the symptoms and hide some of the Lyme disease symptoms that you might be experiencing otherwise. This can stop people from going to the doctor, getting tested, getting treatment done, and figuring out what's going on with their infection. If you don't suspect Lyme disease, you'll probably never find it. FreeLymeTest.com, we set up a free test. It is not considered a diagnosis, but it is very helpful to know where you stand on a green light, yellow light, red light system to see if you were exposed to Lyme disease bacteria. Real quick, here's 9 symptoms that could point to Lyme disease even if you don't have a tick bite or an EM rash. Migrating joint pain, unexplained fatigue, neurological symptoms, new anxiety, mood changes or depression, visual disturbances, strange headaches, and unrefreshing sleep, heart palpitations or POTS-like symptoms, flu-like episodes that come and go randomly. Here's when to suspect Lyme disease, some really glaring red flags that should point you in the direction of Lyme. If you live or travel to a tick endemic area, that's going to be a huge red flag. For me, I grew up in the Poconos, Pennsylvania, and Lyme disease and ticks are rampant there. If you spend a lot of time outdoors, especially in the woods, then that's also a red flag. If you have unexplained chronic symptoms that last a while with no other clear explanation, that's also a red flag. If your symptoms fluctuate up and down or migrate to different parts of your body, that is a huge red flag for Lyme disease. If you've had a negative test for Lyme, but the symptoms still match, you could have Lyme disease. The tests often miss early Lyme disease. There's full videos on this channel explaining this. First of all, track your symptoms. Make sure you're following along with your body and tracking everything that's going on so that you can tell over time if you're getting worse or better, what exactly is going on. This is going to help you when you go to the doctor and explain things, or even if you just come to me and tell me, I'll be able to walk you through it. And if you track your symptoms, it's a lot easier to understand where you are in the process. Next, you can ask for Lyme testing. Now, they're hit or miss. They're not 100% great all the time, but you can still ask for it. It's still your right. And you should get the regular Lyme disease testing unless you want to upgrade and go for a more advanced testing that hits more Lyme cases more of the time with greater sensitivity and accuracy. Next, you may want to discuss co-infection testing with your doctor, or again, use the advanced testing to make sure that that happens. Some tests include a very deep analysis of all of the different bacteria that could be infecting you, and that's great information to have. In the meantime, you can support your immune system and your detox pathways while you're looking for a diagnosis. There's no reason to wait. You can use herbal antimicrobials instead of antibiotics because they're natural, they're easy to use, the body knows what to do with them, and it allows you to fight back against Lyme and co-infections. Go to lymewars.com if you haven't already to check out our herbal antimicrobials specifically for Lyme disease. And finally, try to find a Lyme literate practitioner so that you can get the help you need during this process. You're not in this alone, you just need to know where to look. So not only is it possible to have Lyme disease without ever noticing a tick bite, but the truth is most people that have Lyme disease never saw a tick bite to begin with. So keep that in mind. And you're not alone. Share your story below. Are you dealing with Lyme disease? Did you get bitten by a tick? Did you not get bitten by a tick? Did it happen years apart from each other? Or maybe you never noticed it at all. Either way, I'm glad you're here and I'm happy to help you move through this process of healing the body from Lyme disease. I've been through Lyme disease. It affected me deeply. It was very difficult for me. I was able to come back in an all-natural way without using antibiotics or doctor's offices or really expensive treatments. And I detailed everything I did in a 6-step manual that you can get for free. The link is below this video. It's called the Lyme Survival Guide. All you have to do is put in your email address. We'll send it over to you. You'll have it for life. You download it and it's yours.